Pugh, that'll do it! That will do it! Pugh for Bournemouth! The roof of the Gold Sands is raised! Everyone here knows what that could mean to this football.
We meet again. Cherries now 7 on the spin. It was a 4-1 win against Millwall at the Den tonight, and all of our attacking players were on the score sheet. All signs are positive. It wasn't perfect, but then it never is. We gave away a goal with a defensive mistake, and let's be fair, we should have made it more clinical. Dom, from 1 yard, mate. Come on. But you made up for it. 4-1 though, and the Cherries continue to get 3 points, and all eyes tonight will be on Kenilworth Road, because if we can get Luton win tonight, if Luton end up winning the game, then our playoff position is secured. That'll be all right, wouldn't it? If you want to get involved tonight, it's dead easy, because all you need is your phone, iPad, laptop, whatever, and then plug your headphones into your device and just go to afcbpodcast.com/take part. We'll bring you in the room as soon as we possibly can. Daniel standing by. Daniel always comes in first. So what I'll do, I'll bring in a couple of different faces this time to come on first. And one of them is Keefy T, who usually comes on a little bit further into proceedings. Keefy T in the house wearing his Cruyff shirt. We are not worthy. Hello, buddy.
Danny, he's rocket, isn't he? He's a master, a Dutch master we got there. Fantastic result today, boys and girls. All on board the Woody train.
All aboard the Woody train. Ding, ding. Right, let's bring Aaron in as well. Aaron is here too. Aaron, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
And also, in fact, we will bring in Daniel at this time. So Daniel is here too in Florida, and it's another 3 points. Right, Keith, turn to you first. Talk to me about that.
Nice. Really nice, wasn't it? First half, probably the best half we played all season. Great to see Brooksy getting a few goals. Yeah, Solanke missed a sitter, but he made up for it later. And a bit sloppy on the goal they scored, but overall, it's consistency now. And I think I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I remember Huddersfield all those years ago and all the tears after that. So take one game at a time. Let's go and give Brentford a good old hiding as well, and let's make a big statement. But tonight could all be wrapped up, and I'm getting excited.
Me too. Thanks very much for the super chat to Rob Wells.
Yeah.
Saying easy. That is all. Really, really appreciate it. And whilst the comment came in about my hair, I can see a little thumbnail of Morgan Scott down below, who's had a fresh trim, who's got loads of it, and I've got none. So Morgan, stop taking the piss. That's not fair, mate. Phil Bill is the GOAT, said Thomas Baxter. Beardy T, says Kerry Phillips. We've got all of the regulars here. And massive happy birthday to Ben Phillips as well. My nephew Ben, how are you, mate? Your card is on the way, and your text is on the way as well, which will be happening this evening. It's been a manic day. Happy birthday. And you know what? Nice shirt, says Carl as well. Aaron, did you enjoy that?
I loved it. Loved the watch along, which I was watching at the same time. It was the confidence that we were exuding first half. You could just see it was just it was easy, and we were just they're so comfortable on the ball. You can see what confidence does. We're a team that's flying. I mean, I'm just my only concern is I've got a couple of concerns. One is you keep alluding to, Sam, about the red. You know, we're going to go black at some stage, and please let it be in the next 3 games and not in the playoffs. You know, I mean, it sounds a bit stupid. In some respects, I hope we have a real stinker of performance in the next 3 games to get it out of our system, which might sound counterintuitive, actually, or counterproductive. I don't really want that to happen, but in some respects, if it was going to happen, let it happen in the next 3 games. And the other one's the injuries. I mean, I said a couple of games ago now, if we keep everyone fit, we go up. If we lose some key players, we might not. So Lloyd Kelly going off in the crutches and and a protective boot hopefully is precautionary. He's been brilliant for us. Not detracting from how good he is. I would be more concerned if it was Cook or Carter Vickers, or I guess Pearson or with the spine. I mean, as good as the fullbacks are, they are replaceable, but hopefully he's okay. We've got 4 weeks to the playoffs first leg, so he's got time, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, I was sort of saying at 3-0 to take Arnie off, take Brooks off, take Billing off, just wrap them up in cotton wool. And I think Jonathan Woodgate has got a bit of a dilemma, because on the one hand, you want to go into the playoffs with momentum. Another 3 wins, 10 wins in a row would be unbelievable. The other half of me is thinking, you came up against quite a dirty Millwall team tonight. You could have that against Brentford. You could have that. Certainly Brentford would want to put one of our players out the playoffs, let's be honest. Stoke, Wickham, you just don't want to risk it. So it's a fine line between risking it, but then you don't want to rest them, but then they're not match ready and match momentum wise. So it's a tricky one. But I'm just, every time Brooks or Danjuma go down holding their ankle, it fills me with dread, because if we keep those two fit, Brooks was outstanding tonight, but if we keep those two fit, Pearson and Lerma, Billing, then I think we go up. But there's a lot of ifs and buts.
Yeah, there are a lot of ifs and buts. And look, let's take a look at Aston Villa in 2018-2019 season. And we're going to show a graphic on screen with regards to how their form went. And green is obviously a win, yellow is a draw, red is a loss. And their form kicked in 2nd of March 2019. And look at that, a string of wins. And then towards the end of the season, they drew away at Leeds United. I think that was the one where there was a goal that was scored, and then I think they walked the ball into the net because the goal was a bit not proper, because someone should have kicked the ball out or whatever. And then they went and lost at home to Norwich City, which maybe was the kick up the backside that they needed, because they ended up beating West Brom, albeit on penalties. And then they beat Derby County in the playoff final to get promoted to the Premier League. Are you saying then that maybe that's what potentially we need, like Aaron?
Well, I mean, obviously we don't want to lose a game. No one wants to lose a game of football at all. But if we're going to win the next 3, and that's 10, are we really going to win 13 games in a row? I mean, if we do, then brilliant. I mean, and there's no reason why we can't. But by law of averages, you're going to have an off game. Something's going to go wrong at some stage. And I would rather go wrong in the next 3 games. I mean, Brentford at home, I'd love to smash them. Let's say we smash them 4-0 on Saturday. Half of me would rather say that for when we play them in the playoffs, which I think we will at some stage. It's do we want to not give our secrets away? But I just think we've just got to be a bit clever. And obviously, mathematically, we're not there yet, because I don't know what the Reading score is. But let's assume we're obviously going to be in the playoffs. You can't think about what position you want to end up in. I mean, Jonathan Woodgate will quite rightly say, win the next match, win the next match, win the next match. And maybe that's the way we go. But my worry is, as I said, maybe it's a bit doomsday, but if Arnie picks up an injury, he's out for a few weeks, and that's him gone, and Pearson's out, and then Billing, you just don't want to risk it. But you've got to give them some game time. I'm not saying don't play them at all. But it's just you just got to be a bit clever. And that's why Woodgate's paid the money and I'm not. Interesting.
Thanks for the super chat to David Whitehead. Keep the good vibes coming. We are really on a roll. David, appreciate your support for the channel, because what that means is that it pays for all our subscription services and also lends your support as well. And it guarantees your message gets on the screen. Appreciate that so much, David. Hope to be in a pub near you very, very soon watching an AFC Bournemouth game yet again. Daniel, 4-1. Did you get to see the game today?
Yeah, so when I was thinking, because I was in class, I was thinking it would just be 40 minutes of me paying attention to both. So I decided just to get it. And then when I got it, I watched it. And then I look at my screen for just 1 second to do some work. And then it's 2-0 up. It's very exciting, but it's also thinking like what Aaron said. When is it going to be our downfall? It's either going to be playoffs coming up or in the Premier League, and it can cost us a lot of points in the Premier League. So it's kind of also worrying. So I feel like if we lose against Stoke or Wickham, that won't really matter, because those points won't really matter. And then we just be good on the playoffs, and then hopefully we can go up.
It's a fine line between, there are previous times in the FA Cup, Keith, where Eddie Howe has has rested players because the FA Cup, it's compared to the Premier League, it is not as important, despite the fact it's historical and it's got so many memories, a lot of prestige previously. But he basically disregarded it. He paid lip service to it in his interviews, but really, when you saw the team lineups that were played, he didn't really care. And you can tell that we lost 3-0 at Millwall, and there were other exits in the first round as well, third round, that were not particularly good. But what that also did, though, was also any momentum that we had before that was lost, and that feel-good feeling is lost. So, surely we just need to keep on winning. But then you think we need to also rest players to make sure they're not injured. It's quite hard to weigh up, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's that balance between pragmatism and wanting to go out and win every game, and it's at the heart of the sport. That's why we love it, and it's difficult to know what Woody would do. But I think we just go and be brave, because every game we get more and more confident. You could argue the Wycombe game, we could give Surridge a little try out, see what he can do. Roro, give him a cameo performance, and get them a bit more match experience in there. But it's all about momentum. It's all about gathering that pace, like we did in our promotion season. We just gathered the pace. Do you remember Eddie changing the team apart from Brett and Jan? No, he didn't. And he just kept it going, and we showed what we could do in the end. And it feels a little bit like that now. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm really pleased in how we're doing at the moment. And all the doubters, all the haters out there must be eating loads of humble pie now. And I'm delighted for the lads.
And finally, the next one's because we're playing. Brentford obviously played yesterday. It's now Wednesday night, and we're playing on Saturday lunchtime. So the next one is only 2.5 days. Then we're only playing on weekends, and then actually there's 9 days after the Stoke game before the playoffs. So it's not so much resting them because they're going to burn out for me. It's more just don't get them injured. So I think it's more game management. You obviously have to play them, but I think Saturday will be interesting for 2 reasons. Number one, because there's only 2.5 days, and I think it's going to be our most competitive game. Or both sides might look at it and think this is the hors d'oeuvre before the main course in the playoffs. And if Brentford go 2-footed in, if they put a right back on who they don't care about and goes 2-footed in on Danjuma, we just got to be careful. But it's also very difficult to legislate for injuries. You can't legislate for them.
No, of course not. And we've got to treat it like a tournament now. Every game is knockout stage. Even in the lead up to that, we've got to go in that, I think, in that mindset. Let's be brave. Let's show what we can do. Let's put a marker out for Brentford. Yes, injuries can come, but they can come in warm-ups. You can't legislate for that. But I do think, let's go brave. This really stamp our authority, so we're mentally prepared for the playoffs, where we could get in there and say, "You've got to come out and beat us because we've got the firepower here." And remember, for Billy and Arnie, it's doubly important because they're playing for European places as well. And I can assure you that Arnie will not want to be involved in every minute, because Frank's going to be watching it, and the Dutch front three at the moment are not setting the world on fire. So he feels as though this is his chance, and that could be his stage, and his career could go off from there on in. But no, let's be brave. We've always got to worry about injuries or whatever happens in a game. That's the nature of football. But I just say, go for it. Go and put the same results out. We keep it going, and treat it as a tournament. And who knows where we can be at the end of it.
Keith, do you think this bit of form that we've got at the moment, the board are probably loving it? I mean, obviously, it's got more chance of getting us promoted. But even if we don't, the form of players like Danjuma, I mean, the way he's been in the last 10 or so matches, you can now command a huge fee for him. And players are playing their way into, I wouldn't say, I don't know, they're probably adding 5 or 10 million onto their value just of how they've been. So they're probably sort of rubbing their hands together thinking, actually, what's happening is not too bad. Obviously, we want to go up, but players are playing themselves into form and into higher values, including players like David Brooks. And sometimes I wonder, why is he not playing Junior Stanislas? Because you saw some moments from him towards the end of that second half that were really good. The way he drove forward and had a shot that just came wide. But you got to play Brooks because we know the talent that he's got, and playing him into form is, arguably a good thing. Even if he's had a few bad games, he's now starting to reach the levels that we know he can get to. Yes,
absolutely. And these guys are looking. I don't know. Has Wales qualified for the Euros? I couldn't tell you, but certainly for the likes of Billing, the likes of Arnie, it's putting themselves out in the shop window. Whether they leave or not is a debate for another day. But they want to showcase their talents, and they want to put themselves on that team list for the summer, as well as doing well for us and playing for us as well. And I just think, the board must be delighted with Woody, because I have no doubts they had doubts about who do we pick, do we go experience and what have you. But then they had a coach sitting there who, you've got to give it to Woody. He's superb in interviews, his podcast. It doesn't talk about himself. He talks about CCV, Jeff, Arnie. He talks about players, he bigs them up, and he's really galvanised, I think, the club. And there are so many shades of Eddie in that, of setting us up mentally as fans, as a club, as players. And whatever the outcome is, we've got to seriously consider letting him have a season and see what he can really do. He's got experienced coaches behind him as well, and he plays actually decent football. It's not hoofball like we all thought he would be, like a la Pulis. It's on the deck. He wants his players to express themselves, but he has that little bit of discipline in there, just like Eddie did in the back. And I'm sure he's got some more ideas in there. But let's take one game at a time and not get ahead of ourselves too much. I'm getting too excited now.
You are. Now, I did ask Tom this question, Daniel, at the end of the watch long, and I said, "Who's your man of the match?" And he really struggled. Who's your man of the match, Daniel?
It's think about it. It's a very hard question, but when you did say it, Tom, I was thinking to myself, and I always like to give it to people that I actually like, and this is like a problem with me because most of the time I'll give it to Kelly because Kelly's one of my favorite players. So it's like a thing I always want to control, not to give it to someone I like. And I think it had to be David Brooks. I feel like he's back to his normal. Yeah. And he's, like you guys said in the watch along, he's also showing that he wants to be in the team because there's other people that want to be in his spot. So it's another thing is you have to work for that spot. And I feel like David Brooks did. And he'll be a big, big miss if he gets injured. So I feel like he's also a player because it's a very interesting topic because we were saying about we have to be careful with our players now. But I feel like David Brooks might be a player we need really good because on his day, David Brooks can be prime Leo Messi.
Love it. Absolutely. Daniel, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate it. And what we'll do, we'll bring in Morgan Scott next. Keithy T, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Aaron.
See you, Keithy. Take care.
See you later, matey.
Love it. And we've got a few audio-only participants as well coming in very, very soon. But Aaron, I'll leave you in for a second because we'll bring Morgan in with us as well. Morgan, I'm jealous of the hair, but let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the game. 4-1. AFC Bournemouth looking decent.
Well, Now TV wasn't, in my opinion.
What happened?
I couldn't get on, unfortunately. I did my pre-match walk down the beach at Sandbanks this morning.
Oh, we've just lost your audio there, Morgan. Let me just see if we can sort that out there. You just lost you. Hopefully, we've got you back.
Are we there now?
All good. All good.
I apologise. Where did we get to?
Yeah, so you just had your walk down the beach, but you headed back home and you aimed to get AFCB TV on, but it didn't work for you, did it? Or was it Now
Got
TV you watched through?
TV, now TV on the Sky Sport. That's why on my watch along picture it had a picture of the Stoke game.
Oh, right. Oh, no way. So you couldn't even watch it, mate. That's not good.
Obviously, I knew what was going on because of yourself and Tom. So thanks for that. I feel like I'm in the loop. I didn't see much of the game, but what I have heard and seen and the show's gone on, it looks like the person I've been backing all season, David Brooks, actually turned up and put in a man of the match performance. So well done, Brooksy. People have been slating him, and I have backed him throughout the season, and he's turned up when we wanted him to. So fair play to Brooks. I don't disagree with what people are saying about injuries, but can we just remember that we have won 7 out of 7 games? And I don't know the last time we've done that. Maybe Kirk or someone else can bring that stat up later in the show. But I haven't seen Bournemouth play this well since 2014. I don't know about anyone else, but I haven't, even in the Premier League, I think we're playing much better football now. I think we got a dynamic and the team spirit is back together. Now, I'm not going to talk about what's been going on about other teams lately because we're a Bournemouth channel, but you can tell that Bournemouth have got the team spirit again. I don't know where it's come back from, but it's back, and they're a community, and the fans are loyal, and that's all that matters. Football is a game, and yes, people might think, I know there's money involved and stuff, but tonight I've just seen that Bournemouth have just, and it is a distraction what's going on in the world and everything, and tonight they have come out again, and they have proved people wrong, and now I want to put a different dynamic on it. What's to say that we won't keep winning for the rest of the season? I'm not saying that, it's going to happen, but I think today proved the point to people. Yeah, okay, maybe people might say, oh, we were lucky against Norwich, they didn't care anymore. But tonight we have put out another statement, and then we'll hopefully do the same for the next. We got another 3 games, haven't we? They're coming too quick for my liking now.
Yeah, that's right.
And
go on. Well, look, when you look at our performances against the big sides, against Brentford, I thought, we battered them really, especially in that first half at their Brentford Community Stadium, and somehow they got away with a 2-1 win. And that was a team at that point in time that were very low, and we were putting in real bad performances. Now we're fully confident and we're playing with flair, and players are expressing themselves and playing with freedom. Now you're thinking the sky's the limit. So maybe we'll just blow teams like Brentford away. We don't know. And look, let's be fair. If we're going to have a litmus test for this, let's look at Norwich. Okay, they were down to 10 men. But then we've played against 10 men before, and we've laboured against 10 men. Case in point, Crystal Palace in the Premier League, where we were absolutely dog, and then they won the match 1-0. I think, actually, they probably scored another at the end. I can't remember. But so playing against 10 men isn't a given. And I think we played exceptionally against one of the best teams in the league. So who's to say that we cannot, smash Brentford at the weekend? Who's to say?
Absolutely. And I think, to be honest with you, I go into that with the most confidence I have had all season. And now I'm not saying Bournemouth have had the best season by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there's a time to be frustrated and angry and hurt, a bit like we were back then. And now we are positive and probably the happiest, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the happiest Bournemouth fan I've been in some time. Now, I don't want to put too much of a negative on the evening. Jeff Lerma, we spoke about that his potential incident at Sheffield Wednesday, I think it was, Sam, might not be looked at until the end of April. I think
it's potentially all done now. I think. The club haven't heard anything as of 2 weeks ago, and this still hadn't confirmed. I can't imagine they'd come in at this stage because it would just make a mockery of the whole system.
I don't want to be I don't want to go on about it if it's not going to happen, but could you imagine if that could be a huge loss?
Forward? Yeah,
it'd be ridiculous now. Ridiculous.
It would be ridiculous. And to be honest with you, considering the red card he got sent off for earlier in the season, for them to come back and double punish him, in my opinion, I think that would be shocking. But we won't talk about the EFL. But I on a more positive note, there's 3 more cup finals ahead, and they are cup finals. That's key theme. Hey, and they are cup finals. It is a tournament format. And I don't know if it's mathematically possible, but even if I don't know how it's going to work. I haven't looked, so I haven't had time. but could we still get second? Is there still a chance?
You know what? Watford are going to have seen us and how we dismantled Millwall when they play them at the weekend at home as well. And all it takes is 3 points to confirm it. I think they need 2 points. But if they had lost to Norwich, they would have only needed to drop points in one of their next 2 matches for it to go to the final day. But that hasn't happened. But yeah, I mean, second's probably off the cards. But when you're looking at teams like Aaron that have got momentum into the playoffs, if you're a bookie, there's only one team you're looking at right now in there.
Yeah, look, we got nothing to fear. I was willing Norwich on last night, but then when Watford won, a part of me was relieved because, I don't think we would have wanted to go into the last day disappointed and then sort of going in a bit of a downer thinking we just missed out. And also, I do not want to play Watford in the playoffs. So the only team that I would, with likes of Sarr, etc., that I would potentially fear. So let them go up, get out of the way. We've got nothing to fear. As you said earlier, we could blow the other 3 teams away. We got 6 points off Norwich. We've got 4 off Watford. We've got 4 off Swansea. Fine, we've got 3 off Barnsley. And we haven't got anything off Brentford yet. But, we were playing some of them at a time, you said, when we weren't really playing well. We've got nothing to fear. As you say, 10 men is not easy. Man City lost to Leeds, and Leeds had 10 men, and that's Manchester City, So we got nothing to fear. Yes, they got Ivan Toney, but he's not Sadio Mane or Harry Kane, So we really should have nothing to fear. But we just have to turn up. The mentality is clearly going to be right. We turn up. I'm not necessarily talking about Saturday as such, but we turn up in the playoffs. We really should have nothing to fear. And as you say, the things you can't legislate for, like an early sending off or an injury, you can't legislate for those. So the sky's the limit. And I just think, we're on our way back. Jason Tindall was an absolute legend at this football club.
Yeah.
I love him to bits. But, we were all saying, Eddie Howe would have had us at the top of the league. I think Jonathan Woodgate would have had us at the top of the league, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest. And I hold my hands up. I was one of the first to really not be happy about his appointment. And it just, I understand the reasons for Jason Tindall getting a job with the continuity, but it just shows now he was so out of his depth. He didn't command, obviously, the respect of the players. He couldn't bring them together. And not saying Jonathan Woodgate's the only person, but a decent appointment at the beginning of the season with this set of players. All you have to do is get them organised, get the mentality right, and we would have won the league. And I'd love to think if we missed out this season that Woodgate would say to all the players, we'd walk the league next season if you all stay, but that's clearly not going to happen. So we've got to do it now.
Perfect. Aaron, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Sam. Take care. See you, Morgan.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, Morgan, sorry, pick that up. We'll bring in Marky Masters. We've got Ollie and Harry before that. Also, Ben standing by as well. But yeah, go on, pick up on that point, mate.
I just wanted to go on to say, Aaron said Jason Tindall is a legend of our football club, and we will never forget his servant as a player. And obviously, he was quite short with this injury, quite before my time, I think. But he was a legend in all areas. And of course, it's going to be difficult after a manager like Eddie Howe left. Of course, it was always going to be tricky. And to be honest with you, I think Jonathan Woodgate has done remarkably well in the way that he spoke in the press. I've been so impressed. I do not miss an interview, even if I'm listening to it first thing in the morning or late at night, because it's excellent the way he said. One game at a time. It's a good mindset. He's not carried away. He brings positive. He's getting results out of his players. Even we were 1-0 down at Norwich. He turns it around. He makes.
Well, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to worry about
it's not even so much
4 months down the line, does he? All he's got is his next game, because he might not even be here next season.
Well, who knows? But if we sit here at the end of the season and he has taken us back to the Premier League, if it's through the playoffs, well, it's going to be through the playoffs. Let's be realistic for half a second. But if he gets us back to the Premier League at the first time of asking, in just under half a season, I think that's an excellent season by an excellent guy. Probably not the best manager we're ever going to see by any means of the imagination, but right now, anyone that wants to knock him, there's no need, because he's excellent. And I think just a final message before I go, if that's okay, because I've taken up enough.
That's right.
I just want to say, Bournemouth are a community. We have known what's gone on in the press in the last few days, and I just think it's excellent that we are getting to the point now where Bournemouth are playing football. They're a team. They're trying to do their best. Yes, if we go up, it's going to be bloody amazing at the first time of asking. Oh, it's not 9 o'clock. I just swore. Okay. But if we don't go up, it's at least we have put in the half graft for the rest. It's not been a frustrating season. There's been pros and there's been positives. And it's just amazing that we have now got 7 games from 7 wins. And let's hope by May the 8th, we might be definitely going to Wembley.
Hopefully. Morgan Scott, what a legend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. Man of the match, David Brooks.
David Brooks. Thank you very much. Right, a couple of people before we bring in Ben and Mark. We're going to go James Reed very quickly because we know he's got to go, but he's a regular. James Reed, Bournemouth have beaten.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
And do you think we're going to beat Brentford?
Yeah.
Mate, what's the scoreline going to be? I know you like to type your scorelines out in chat, so here he goes. He's going to type the scoreline for us. If it's a 9-0.
Oh,
yeah. Bournemouth v Brentford at the weekend on Saturday at home. What's the scoreline going to be? In private chat, he's gone for a 5-1. 5-1. If that happens, James,
yeah.
I will be loving that. James, up the cherries in all departments. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. Up the cherries. Hero. Ollie's here, and we've also got Harry Mogg, audio only. We'll start off with Harry. Harry, how are you, mate?
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, mate. Loud and clear. What are your thoughts on tonight, buddy?
I think we've done brilliant. I mean, since Jonathan's come in, the support's got back in the correct way. I mean, let me explain. When Jason Tyndall left, I think the club morale was at the lowest it's ever been since those League 2 days. But now we've come back and we look like we're going to get promoted. So, brilliant.
It's amazing. What do you think he's done? What do you think he's done like different, or did it just need a fresh face at that point in time?
I think it just needed a fresh face. I mean, I don't think Jason was the right way to go because I think he was too much like Eddie Howe in the sense of, Eddie was great, but things move on, times move on.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, with Jason Tyndall being Eddie Howe's right-hand man, Eddie Howe, one of the criticisms that he often got was not being able to handle the big personalities and the big names. And we know from a lot of people have said this before on the pod and on different shows on this channel that Jonathan Woodgate has played in dressing rooms that has got big names and big characters. So he knows how to communicate with them. He knows how to manage them. And I'm sure that when you've got big players, personality-wise, like Phil Bill, Dan Juma or whatever, that can be quite a task. But he seemed to have done well in terms of the man management and got them playing together, gelling, cohesive and as a proper unit. And at this point in time, mate, I mean, are you thinking we should be getting promoted back to the Premier League?
Certainly, if we could keep the form up and Dan Juma and the others don't get injured. Just moving back onto that Real Madrid, I think, like you said, he's got used to bigger characters. Eddie Howe's first side he built when he came back was unbelievable. But those were players that needed to prove themselves. Steve Cook, Charlie Daniels, they were nobodies at the time. But the players we got now, Dan Juma and players like that, and David Brooks, they're bigger players. Everybody recognises them. Man United fans recognise them. Everybody recognises them. That's the difference.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And Ollie's here as well. Ollie, 4-1. Happy days, eh?
Yeah, happy days. I think we needed to have this long winning streak because it's been tough for us this season. And I think coming down from the Premier League, it's been tough for everyone, including the fans, because we're a community. And this streak has really helped us feel good.
It has. And when you look at Norwich, they had their incredible run of win after win after win. Watford did it, I think 8 or 9 in a row or something crazy like that. And now Bournemouth have done it. I think we probably could have snuck into the playoffs by win-loss or whatever. But what does this now do for our confidence?
It really boosted it, really, because we think now that we can win these playoffs, go to Wembley, get promoted, but then what we need to do is stay up
and
keep ourselves in a solid position for at least a season, and then we'll try and progress.
Are there any teams that you would quite like to be playing, or teams that you'd like to maybe even stay away from in the playoffs? There, Ollie.
Probably Swansea, but that's only because they're a parachute team as well. So it's best to stay away from them.
And before we go, who's your man of the match from tonight's game, mate?
Probably Philip Billen, because as you and Tom said, he got involved when there was a little scuffle to help his teammates, and he scored a goal. So,
yeah, I think you bang on. Ollie, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Cheers. And also to Harry Mogg, appreciate your time, mate.
Cheers, up the Cherries.
Cheers. Up the Cherries in all departments. Right. Marky Masters in the house. Marky Masters.
Hello, how are you? You well?
Very well. We've also got James, Musselwhite, Jim Bob. Party time around your gaff.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
And also we've got Ben, a.k.a. Cockbeard on Twitter. Ben, how are you, sir?
I am.
He's doing all good. So, Marky Masters, let's start with you. 4-1 to AFC Bournemouth, and yeah, you commented on the smiles being all on our faces. I retweeted that the other day, your little snippet, and yeah, it's just carrying on and carrying on.
I guess I'm picking up the thread of what people are talking about this evening. It all comes down to confidence now, isn't it? Look, everyone's giving the big old explanations. Morgan's doing well with where he surmises out the game. Keith did as well. But this is what I'd like us all to be. This is what I want to be. Do you know what I'd like to be? The back of the net. Do you know what I want to be? Do you know if you had a mascot? Do you know what I'd like to be for back of the net?
Who? Go on. Who?
I want to be the back of the net, Jeff Mostyn, where I come up and I rock up when it's.
You want me to slap your bottom?
Then you're never when you're propping it all up when we're losing again. You never want to be around. That's what I'm about. Just bring me out for the good times, and then I can just go. I go silent on you. Well, Sam's all looking pissed off again. There's another 0-0. And then, but you know what? I'll pop up with a nice smile with the what's our tagline? What's the tagline we've all got? We've all got to
remember I loaned you £500,000.
Eat well together, or whatever. Anything is possible, or whatever it is. Eat and drink. However, this is my one question. I just want to listen. I'll put this to James and to Ben and yourself, Sam. Yeah. So when we were watching the Millwall game back in January, it was a pretty dreadful afternoon. Solanke scored just before half-time, and they got the late equaliser. The stats were that they had a ton of shots compared to a few from ours. And I'm trying to piece this together. I'm going to ask this now.
Yeah.
From that game then to now, is it more than belief in the play? Is this all it is? Is just a boost of confidence? Can I ask James and Ben now? Because we're all trying to surmise it, but I'm really scratching my head on where we were in only just a few months to have this complete turnaround. What do you guys put it down to?
Yeah, James.
There was a soundbite in a Tyndall interview towards the end of his sort of regime, I suppose, where he said, "Oh, he had no answers," and he said, "And Woodgate can't believe how quiet it is in that dressing room." And I looked at him and I thought, that's it. You've just signed it. You just signed it off. And I think there's a galvanizing spirit. All teams that go on great winning runs or battle against the odds have this sort of siege mentality, so to speak. You think back to Venables in Euro 96 and Robson in Italia 90, and I'm overstating it, quoting World Cups. But all of these teams have that. And I think what's happened is that we've stopped worrying about oppositions. We've started worrying about our strengths, and we've started putting faith in the talent that's on the pitch. That's what I think's happened. What does Ben think?
Siege mentality makes a lot of sense to me. I was just going to type a reply in the internal chat here, but I remember us not too long ago having a senior squad of 16 and having to ask Porchester's maths teacher whether we could. Was it Porchester?
Yeah.
Who it was? Right. Cheers, Sam. Just double checking whether we could actually take Jaden Stockley away to Chesterfield one evening because he might be late for his maths exam in the next week. You know what I mean? So that definitely Siege mentality helps. Togetherness helps. Now, it's going to be slightly separate, but going on the same thing. One of the things we had a long time ago was in the military. It was basically competitive competition, if that makes any kind of sense. So basically, I'm better than you, but our strike force together is better than those two reserve strikers. But those together are better than the opposition team. But our opposition team together is better than another division, is better than, you know what I mean? You go from the bottom up, and if you're working together, you're working all the way up. It's a stupid little thing, but that competitiveness, as long as it's channeled in the right direction, is fantastic for making people want to grow and want to be better.
I guess what you say there, Ben, when you talk about things being channeled, is it what you would pick it up on, James, where Tyndall was completely out of his depth? I know we're not here to throw him under the bus, but is it now that apparent? Listen, who knows what Thierry Henry would have done, but is that what it looks at now? Is that we had people?
I can't think of an example where a number 2 has come into a number 1 spot and it's worked out. I think it's very difficult to go from Mr. Nice, who the players sort of rely on to sort of have their back a little bit, to suddenly be Mr. Nasty. I think it's a huge, I mean, anyone that's stepping into house shoes at Bournemouth has got a hell of a job on, you know? And the expectations for Woodgate were so low that, and I looked at him, I'm looking at him constantly, and the confidence that he's sort of putting over in interviews, which he's always put over at the start anyway. Like I'm guessing he can't believe his luck, because the squad that he sort of walked into as a first team coach, and then within a week he's the manager. Where were we when he took over? What were we, 4th, 5th? We were definitely solidly in the playoffs with a good shout for automatics.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
we're never outside the playoffs.
That's lucking out when you compare to the situation he was inheriting at Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a case of with these players, and he's done the right thing. He's brought an experienced coaching staff around him. He's played them to a formation that is settled week in, week out. I was looking back at the squad list from the beginning of the season. We couldn't play a back 4. We couldn't decide whether we were playing back 4, back 3, back 5, who the centre-back. At the start of the season, we were changing it every game. We know I can tell you what the side is now. And that's what I was thinking tonight. Not only that, like when Smith is injured or tired, you've got a really dependable replacement. You know, we've got a Welsh international to replace either Carter, Vickers or Cook. We've got a very capable goalkeeper to replace the best goalkeeper in the Championship. We had another fullback on the other. I mean, it's when Brooks and Danjuma are tired and the opposition have played 70 minutes, we bring on Stanislas, who's on 11 goals this season, you know, and Riquelme and you know, and everyone, and Jack Wilshere's our replacement central mid. I tell you something, that Billing's been a revelation, but that back 2 behind him of Pearson and help me out here, Lerma, Pearson and Lerma, man, that's one for the Championship. It's an embarrassment. It really is. So I mean, yeah, sorry, I'm gabbling.
I had a housemate of mine watching the match with me tonight, and he doesn't watch Bournemouth, and he was like, "Oh, you're bringing on Wilshere?" He's like, "Does he not start?" It's like, "Well, no." As ridiculous as it sounds, given all that we know, no, he's pretty much 4th choice. But when he comes on, he can do a job, and he can do that. And what a crazy abundance of riches we're talking about when we're talking about that. Which is why we should have been top of the league from the start of the season. But I won't slate JT for that. JT came into a position that was unwinnable. You know, it was much like Moyes at United, which is a big thing to say, but it was much like that. And I think we had a poor step of form, and then we reverted to our norm. And JW was a beneficiary of that. But I think Woodgate has done absolutely brilliantly. And the way he interacts with us as fans and with the fans as a greater whole, I was cynical. I'm not anymore. I like him. I want him.
JW.
That was so romantic. I'm sorry.
Clip that right there.
Yeah. Oh my God, Ben. Ben, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Sorry, Mark. Did I chuck you out the room, or did you do something? I'm not sure, but you went halfway through.
Sam, it was disgraceful what you did there.
I'm not sure. I clicked something.
Mate, I clicked the wrong button, and so
it wasn't me.
I was getting Sam down.
Oh yeah, it's all good. By the way, I had a comment from a certain Ian, and my mum and dad watched this, and they said, "Marky, you're so quirky." And by the way, that's a positive thing that they're saying, right? yeah.
Ian and Sandra, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Because in other words, that's basically saying that bloke's a bit of an oddball.
Yeah. Nice. No, they mean it well. They do mean it well.
That's very kind, and you're lovely people as well. That's really kind.
Yeah, Marky. Again, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate your
Hey,
positivity.
James, Sam, thanks everyone. Up the Cherries!
Thank you, Chairman Jeff. We'll see you for another win very soon, I'm sure. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Cheers. And James, closing comments before we switch it up.
I'll tell you, closing comments. Who likes? I went into this match thinking, who likes a midweek game away at Millwall? Who likes that? I'll tell you who likes it. Every football fan in this country. We love it. We love away games like that. We love the fact that we get to play different teams. We love the fact that there's promotion and relegation, and we're loving this season at the moment. We're coming into the right form at the right time. It's looking positive.
Looking positive. Cheers, James. Thanks very much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Absolutely superb. Right, before we get to the trio of Steve, John, and Kirk, we got Liam Humby.
Hey, up the Cherries!
Up the Cherries. How are you?
What a win.
Mate, talk me through it. 4-1. How do you feel?
Yeah, brilliant. I didn't think Millwall were that good, though, to be fair.
No, they weren't much, but
nah.
When they pulled it back at 3-1, did you worry?
Yeah, it was a bit like that.
Yeah. But you know what? We scored to make it 4, and we
some of the football was outstanding, I thought. Like,
it was really good. It was really good. I mean, who is your man of the match today?
Well, probably Brooks.
Nice. Yeah,
probably.
Brooks. And it's good that he's playing his way back into form. And he hasn't been great so far, but he got on the score sheet today and he looks more... He looks a better player, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
he did.
I don't know what's happened to Solanke. 2 misses like that.
I'm going to have to bring Kirk on a minute and look him in the eye and somehow defend Dom. Look, Dom did get on the score sheet with a harder chance. I think it was hard. I mean, look, when the ball is fired across so fast, all you got to do is just try to cushion it and take the power off it. But he got a proper contact and it went over the bar. But thankfully, it didn't matter. Who do you want in the playoffs, Liam?
I'd take all of them, really, at the form we're playing. But probably Swansea.
Swansea, yeah. What? So Swansea in the semi-finals or Swansea in the final?
Probably the final.
Yeah, the final. You know what? There are certain teams. I think we can beat Swansea over 2 legs, and I think we can beat them over 1. I think there are certain teams where it favours us to play them in one 90-minute match, and I'm sure Kirk will have his opinion on that. But happy days, though. Brentford on Saturday, mate. Saturday lunchtime. Have you got a prediction for us?
I think 2-1
to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Music to my ears.
Probably Ivan Toney just scored for them.
Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh God, you're just giving Kirk more content to talk about, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, Liam. Appreciate it.
Up the Cherries.
Up the Cherries. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat to the Dog Father. Thank you so much, because what it does, it guarantees your message appears on screen and also helps to support the channel for all our monthly fees that we've got to pay to keep it going. And Tiggs's haircuts need to be paid out of some fund, right? We've got the squad. We've got the confidence. Everyone will want to avoid us in the playoffs. Up the Cherries in all departments. Right. So we're going to bring in John Spark. All right, John, how are you? Oh, I can't hear you, John, for some reason. I can't quite hear you, John. There's no audio coming through. I'll just try Kirk just to make sure I'm not going mad. Kirk.
Hear me?
I can hear you. Let's try John again. No, we can't hear you, John, unfortunately. So he's going to exit and come back in. But we've got Ulster Cherry, who's here. He's going to talk about the game as well. Hello, buddy. How are you?
All right. Yeah. No, just pretty buzzing. Obviously, after it's, I mean, 2 away wins in a row. It doesn't always happen, but to score 7 goals, in the space of like 4 or 5 days, it's incredible. And to be confident, to go to 2 teams which traditionally are tough away games, Norwich and then tonight Millwall. So yeah, I mean, what more can we say? We're looking for the playoffs now and see. Who we get, and if we can crack on next 3 games, get 3 more results to keep us confidence high going in, to the playoffs. So, yeah, Jan, and yeah, how you doing, guy? All right?
Yeah, very well. I mean, was that?
Can you hear me? All right?
Yeah, we can hear you absolutely fine. Yeah, absolutely fine. We can hear you, not a problem at all.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you is, do you think that's probably the most enjoyable 45 minutes that we've seen for a long time from AFC Bournemouth?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I look back on some of the games that I was at, but when you look at Birmingham City, the 8-0 away win, I think that to me is like just, destroyed them in one half. Obviously tonight, Millwall basically, obviously they've scored a goal, but great win, and you can't really complain too much. A lot of the, subs coming on, playing well also. So, yeah, I think it was, it was really good performance overall, but when I look at the last 2 games, I sort of compare with Norwich as well, going to the team in the league this season, with them 3-1, albeit against 10 men. It doesn't matter, beat them. So bring on the Brentford on Saturday. Yeah.
And have you got a prediction for that Brentford game? Do you think Bournemouth are going to get the 3 points?
Thing is, we could play Brentford 3 times in the next month, couldn't we? Because we, the playoff team. So I'd settle for a draw if we can beat them in the playoffs. Because we don't want to put all our cards out on the table, show them, exactly what we've got. Because there's a little bit of secret on the bench, a bit of magic coming on with, Stanislas and Wiltshire still, not even on the team. So I think. I don't mind getting a draw with Brentford because the playoff's the big one for us now,
Brilliant. Thanks so much for coming on, also, Cherry. Really appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Up the Cherries.
Up the Cherries in all departments. That's Ulster Cherry. Great for him to make his back of the net debut. And what we're going to do is bring back John that we can hopefully hear now. John, you right?
I hope so.
Perfect.
All right,
and also, Steve Hensman is here as well. You've been doing the hokey cokey, Steve, on you've been coming in and out. You all right?
I don't know. I'm having some technical glitches. The gremlins are active in my house this evening, so apologies if I just disappear. You all keep freezing and I have to keep reloading everything, so let's fingers crossed.
I think I had gremlins and glitches on Sunday night when we were playing football, Steve.
We won't mention the rainbow flick, Sam, will we?
Is that the excuse you always use, Sam?
Oh my God, that was the worst thing ever. Kirk,
well, I thought I was throwing you under a bus on Sunday, and I'll make up for it this Sunday, I promise.
But you better. Kirk, you just come off your match review. Was it positivity today?
Firstly, this one's for Algard, right? I'm your biggest fan. I follow you until you love me. Dom Solanke. That one's for Algard.
That's beautiful. And yeah,
what was your question?
Yeah, Algard.
Are you considering a singing career?
No.
My God. Tell you what, that's beautiful. Lady Gaga on back of the net. I think that's the first. But Algard, if you're watching, best wishes to you because I know you've had your up today, etc. So hope all is well. Yeah. How was it? Your match review show, was it full of positivity? Because it's been all positivity, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were very, very good. I thought the first 10 minutes we had the better of the exchanges, didn't we? We just needed to get that goal. And Phil Billing, again, scores the first goal in the game. We win every football match he scores. That's 7 out of his 8 goals have been the first goal in the game. And that sort of set the tone, really. And we were just looking for that second one, which came as well with Danjuma and an absolute ridiculous assist from Begovic. David Brooks, a player that's got Stanislas breathing down his neck. Lerma, Ben Pearson, ridiculous, breaking the play, hunting down the ball, starting the play. it's just all positive. I just hope, and I said this to John, that we don't use up everything now. You know, we need to leave some in the tank for the playoffs. I mean, we're pretty much guaranteed now. You know, we've gone past that 75-point mark, which I said was the sort of marker that we needed. And if Reading draw like they currently are, I believe that'll be it, because they'll need to score like 30 goals to knock us out if we weren't to win another game. So yeah, all good. I mean, disappointed to concede a goal, obviously, and hopefully Lloyd Kelly's okay. But apart from that, it's brilliant goals, brilliant assists. Yeah, fantastic.
I said to someone else earlier, John, that if the Reading v Luton result goes our way tonight and it's confirmed, you know, the way the confidence is at the moment, it almost doesn't matter who we play. So is that the point where Jonathan Woodgate might actually start to rest players, or do you think he's got that mentality, or does he just want to keep winning?
He might pick one or two to rest now and again. I think this Brentford game that comes up is the last game in a sort of run of weekend games that follow midweek games. You know, after this one, we've got I'm pretty sure I'm correct in this. After this one, we've got a week break to Wickham, and then we've got a week break to Stoke. So at that point, resting players isn't really needed, because especially there's a decent break between the last game of the season and then you know, May, where the start of the playoffs in May. So yeah, one or two, maybe, you know, a few. Certainly, obviously, Lloyd Kelly, hopefully we'll be back in time for the playoffs, but Rico's going to get his time now for probably at least the next couple of games. You might see Solanke swapped out. Danjuma would probably kick off if he got taken out, to be honest. I think Danjuma's in such good form that he definitely wouldn't want to be sat out. And then you've got competition all over the pitch for places. Stacey comes in, I think, does a really good job today without being like exceptional. He comes in, does well going forward, helps out, and does his thing at the back as well. No one really had a bad game today at all. And I think I was saying on the review, I think that is right up there with our best performances of the season, because it was 90 minutes for one thing. We've had enough good 60 minutes. We've had good phases of games, but that really was pretty much 90 minutes of great football. And some of the link-up play was fantastic. I think, you know, the first goal was a bit reminiscent of our goal against Preston. The second goal was just, I mean, I love a goalkeeper assist. That's Begovic's second of the season. The only thing he's got to do now is just score, I think, Begovic, and he'll have the whole set. And then, you know, third goal, Brooks coming back into it, and the fourth goal. Well, if there's any AFC Bournemouth, you know, members of the media team, I want the 30-second build up to the fourth goal, because that I think the Philip Billings movement and play in that goal, I was just pretty mesmerized by just him being in exactly the pockets of space you need him to be. And then obviously the great link-up play with him and Solanke. I mean, yeah, it was just fantastic. I think, as much as I think I maybe focused a little bit too much on the negatives in terms of the first 20 minutes against Norwich, and didn't really sort of digest how good we were in phases against Norwich. Today we were outstanding. We really were. I mean, that is some of the best play you'll see all season, as far as I'm concerned, and all of the goals were great. You know, ignore the fact that the best chance of the match was missed. Everything else was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. Thanks to the super chat to Spells, who has written top scorers in the Championship, 2 home defeats on the bounce for Millwall for ages. Pearson, man of the match. My brother works at AFCB and knows Sam. Oh, me? I don't know. Or Sam Surridge. I don't know. Either way, fair play. You might want to clarify that. Thanks for your support for the channel. Really appreciate it, mate. Really do appreciate that. Steve, there were echoes of that 5-1 at Fulham tonight. It was a nighttime game. It was in London. We went 3 goals ahead before conceding, and we kind of thought, oh, will they get back into it? They didn't. And then we went and scored another, albeit we scored one further in that Fulham match. But it was a really good first half, wasn't it? Really good.
Yeah, it was. That's a good comparison, actually, because I only watched that game the other day, the Fulham match. So I watched it with Keith, actually.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is a good comparison. The goals were equally as good, apart from Mr. Cook didn't get one. He was unfortunate with that header, actually. I thought he that was a really good save from the keeper there.
So close. So close.
Sorry, I've gone off track a bit. What was the question?
Oh, I was just saying it's quite nice to get off to a fast start because for so long this season we've not managed to do that, but now we also don't score and sit back. You know, Tiggs will bring out his XG chart, you know, when he needs to, but he doesn't need to this time. And look, we hit a point at 1-0. It didn't level off. We went and created more chances, and that's positive to see, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, take out the Norwich first sort of 20 minutes, and we have been starting a lot quicker in the recent games, and you can only put that down to the coaching staff again. I mean, obviously everything they're sort of talking about and teaching the guys and telling them what to do is going in, and they're reacting in a positive way. I think the first half performance, I didn't catch much of the second half, but the first half performance, I thought we were excellent. Equally, I thought Millwall were absolutely rubbish. I just didn't see them getting near us at all. It was almost like, you know, that first 20 minutes against Norwich, but the other way round. We were just, and we were strolling around. We didn't even look like we were in second, third gear. So I don't know, but hats off to the lads. They stuck with it. They could have easily just sort of sat back and just cruised the rest of the game, but they didn't. They still pushed forward. We still created chances second half. I mean, that Don one, like you just alluded to a minute ago, John, how on earth did he miss that? Yeah. But then the fourth one, I think the guy on the Millwall commentary, or what I had, was likening us to Barcelona at that point. That little movement of passes.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, you know, Billings, Messi, and we're Barcelona at the moment.
Wow. Well, you know, fair comparison, I suppose. You know, that makes Woody Pep Guardiola, does it? I'm not too sure. Wow. But Woodgate probably does deserve a lot of credit in what he's done, Kirk. He's managed to pick up a load of players that were mentally at a low, perhaps an all-time low, and has got them playing, smiling, believing in themselves and expressing themselves on the pitch. It's good to see. There's, you know, the front three I noticed were swapping at some point in times. Dan Juma could sometimes be found in the middle of the pitch and even a bit over to the right. Brooks always liked to come in. There's a bit of freedom there now as well, which means it's not all that predictable. It's like almost like your, Sade, Manio, Mo Salah, Roberto Firmino sort of last season. That kind of look.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I think we need to give credit to maybe everything that's going on.
Manio. So, no, what's his name?
Yeah, Sadio Mane. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, you said Sadio Mano.
Did I? Yeah. I was just thinking to myself, what is his name? Yeah.
It's not even late
compared
tonight.
to Liverpool, by the way. Have we just been compared to Liverpool, Barcelona, and what's going on?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We should be Super League. Come on.
Yeah, Championship Super League. Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot's going on. Maybe credit needs to go out to people like Joe Jordan and Gary O'Neill. I didn't think I'd say that a few months ago, but Jonathan Woodgate's done a good job, and he's got us playing. He's got the talent that we knew was always there, but they look like they want it. I think that's the difference. They look like they wanted it at the start of the season. For whatever reason, they look like they weren't bothered after Christmas, and now they look hungry again, and that's good to see. And when they look hungry, and how many times, and you've said it on your podcast, Sam, with Jeff, if they smile and enjoy their football, everything else and the talent they have will blossom. And I've always said that. And when you've got people like Brooksy not getting frustrated when he makes the wrong pass or when he takes too long on the ball, and how many times have we seen him kick the floor, and, you know, he's smiling. And when he smiles, the footballer that's in him comes out. We know he's a good player. We know what he has in the locker. There's been teams like Man City wanting to potentially pay 40 million for him. There's got to be something there. The thing is, we need to see it more consistently. I think that's the thing with Brooks. I don't think we've ever really seen it over a long period of time. He had good spells in that first season before that bad injury, you know, Palace, Chelsea, and those types of games. But we want to see it more. Look, I'm not going to go into too much detail now because it's not the right time. Woodgate's done a good job, but there's still another conversation to be had if we go up. But now's not the right time for that. It's a good moment. It's a happy moment, and maybe those conversations and how I feel about it will come later on.
So here's the league table then, John. Third, and we could cement that third place by beating Brentford at the weekend. I mean, it's just mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad how times change. I mean, I think we're all in agreement that second is probably off the cards unless Millwall pull off a shock against Watford on Saturday. But, you know, looking forward to Brentford now. Like anything you'd be changing?
I would imagine Wilshere will come in. I was actually kind of surprised, maybe a little bit, that Lerma. I guess that Lerma was taken off half time, obviously, against Norwich. But I do feel in that Norwich game, the 45 minutes he played, and he's had sort of patches at the start of this game and in others where he's just a little bit off the pace, maybe a little bit tired, possibly, because he's been the one consistent performer in that double anchor role. And it might be that Pearson stays and Wilshere comes in for Lerma, just to give Lerma a little bit of a rest, because he hasn't really been taken off very frequently. And I mean, he didn't have to go to Colombia in the most recent international break, but that's the only one I could see, you know, out of the necessary change, obviously, of Rico coming in, because the back two isn't going to change. Smith might come in, but Smith and Stacey are pretty interchangeable at this point. But that front four, I don't see changing. So there's not too much that really needs to be done, I don't think. It's funny just seeing us really how comfortable we are after on this really long winning streak now. Sort of, if we beat Brentford, third place is pretty much assured, because I don't see Swansea picking up more than, I don't know, 4 points from the rest of the season. They're really not doing all that well at the moment. So, you know, this is kind of like the dry run of the playoffs, in terms of this is the last big game that we've got until the end of this, until the playoffs start, and it is the one team that we might end up playing in the playoffs. So it's all about how are we going to fare up against, you know, probably the best team that we could come up against in the playoffs in what would probably be the final, because I don't see them coming sixth and we'll finish third. So they'll be fourth or fifth and they'll battle out with Swansea. So, you know, Norwich was the game that I thought we would sort of see what Woodgate's tactical chops are, and that wasn't in the end what it turned out to me. So, you know, this is the last test before we go into the playoffs, and that's what makes this so intriguing, is how good form we're in. 2 top scorers in the league going up against each other, and it'll be a really exciting game. And I mean, I think I can't remember who mentioned it, but there was also Cherries saying that he'd be happy with a draw, and I think I would be too. I think I wouldn't have any problems with us drawing. But you know, this is the kind of game where really I would just love to see them let loose and just go for it, and see what we can do. You know, I've had my misgivings about. I had my misgivings earlier about Woodgate coming in and being given the permanent job. I know Kirk does, because I think we have similar thoughts on the matter. But regardless of what I think of him as a tactician, because to be honest, I won't know what he's like as a tactician until we get into the Premier League, because we are the favourites in pretty much every game we play. He is very clearly a very good coach and a very good man manager, because there is no way he would have been able to turn what was a fast-moving train heading downhill out of the playoffs into what we're now in, what position we're in now, which is very comfortably the best team in the league right now. And you know, there's no real getting away from that. Like I said, you know, as to his in-game management, you know, this jury's still out as far as I'm concerned. I don't know why he didn't take Billing off as soon as he got the yellow card. That baffles me, to be honest. But everything else, he's been fantastic. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to how we do. And the playoffs are a bit of a lottery in many ways, but there's no doubt that we are the favourites at the moment. And I'm really loving life as a Bournemouth supporter right now.
Amazing. Good to hear. Steve, you got any closing comments from tonight, or just generally?
No, I mean, I think the lads have pretty much summed it up nicely. I mean, I listened to what John was saying there about the playoffs. I think we do. I'd like to. You said about a draw against Brentford, but I'd like to get a win there, to be honest, because it's I think I see it as a psychological thing. You know, if we haven't been able to beat them over the course of the season, they've got that sort of psychological edge. I feel, and that may play a part. Because I think we'll have to play. We're pretty sure we'll have to play Brentford if we at some point through the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, but we are the team in form. Arguably the best team in form in the league at the moment. I think us and Norwich probably. So yeah, fingers crossed for it all.
Fingers crossed. And I mean, I think we got a good chance of finishing third, and I don't think Brentford will go as low as sixth. So it would probably be that we would play them in the final. In that case, it's going to be an intriguing one. Steve, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem, buddy. See you Sunday.
Cheers.
See you
Will
later,
do,
Steve.
mate. Will do, and also John as well. John Spark. Thanks very much.
Lovely. Nice to be on again. Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
mate. Thank you very much. Whereabouts can people find your match review show, mate?
Cherries Red Army YouTube channel just gone out, I think. It should be live now on the YouTube channel, and I'll also tweet it as well. Follow at Cherries Red Army on Twitter. Yeah, really appreciate that, Sam. And the match review is now out.
Get on cherriesredarmy.co.uk if you want some AFC Bournemouth content. We do our best to put out as much as we can. Kirk goes another level with his match review shows as well. So get on board with that. cherriesredarmy.co.uk. If you don't do that within the next 5 minutes, you're an idiot. Go subscribe to Kirk. Kirk, hopefully be seeing you on Sunday then, eh? Playing football.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, by the way. That's thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So boots are coming back out Sunday. The Paul Gascoigne feet will hopefully be there, and probably Paul Gascoigne's current fitness will probably be there as well. So but looking forward to it, getting out there, fresh air, and having a kick around.
If you're going to be true Paul Gascoigne, can you bring me a box of chicken as well? Because that's what we're talking about. Yeah, that'll be superb. Have a post-match feast. Kirk, thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Cheers, mate. Really appreciate that.
And look, the runaway train continues to gain momentum. At some point, we thought it was going to be the other way around. That 4 losses in a row under JT, and now we're 7 wins on the spin with Jonathan Woodgate. Where will it end? Who knows? But tell you what, things are looking good. Hope Lloyd Kelly is okay. Stay strong, Lloyd. Won't go so far as to making a T-shirt this time. But thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you very soon, no doubt, up the Cherries.